Hello and welcome back to Lesson 6 of the Grade 1 Music Theory course, where we will look at accidentals. We'll start off looking at what accidentals are. We'll then focus on what each of the accidentals do. We'll focus on the main accidentals you need to know at this level, which is sharps, flats and naturals. We'll then take a closer look at naturals and why they are necessary in music. And lastly, we'll finish off by looking at enharmonics. So what are accidentals? Accidentals are simply symbols that raise or lower the pitch of a note. There are three types of accidentals that we'll cover in this lesson, and those three are the only ones you need to know about at this stage of your music theory. There is the sharp, the flat, and the natural. Before we go on to analyse the effects of each of these accidentals, it's useful to cover and recap what we've already looked at about the notes in music. In a previous lesson, we looked at the 7 notes which go from A to G. However, there are 12 notes in total. The remaining 5 notes are created through accidentals. It's easiest to visualize this on a keyboard. If you look at the white notes on this keyboard, you'll see the 7 notes we previously looked at, in this case starting at C and ending at B. However, you'll also notice the black notes are not named. If we add the names of these notes, you'll see they are created through accidentals. To explain this easier, we'll start looking at each of the accidentals in turn. The first accidental we'll look at is the sharp symbol. As a reminder, here is a sharp. When a sharp is applied to a note, it raises the pitch of a note to the next nearest note. This again is easiest visualized on a keyboard. So let's take the C note first. If we were to sharpen it, we increase its pitch to the next closest note. In this case, that note would be C sharp. The note C sharp, you'll notice, can also be named D flat. This is because they are enharmonic. We'll talk about this later on in this lesson. However, for now, just be aware that they are the same note. And if this note is reached by sharpening C, we would name this note C sharp. Now let's take the A note. If we sharpen it, we raise it to the next closest note. As we are sharpening the note is named A sharp. Now let's take a more awkward accidental by looking at E. If we sharpen it, we raise it to the next closest note, and this note is the F. However, as we came to the note by sharpening the E, we call it E sharp instead of F. Although E sharp and F sound the same, they are different notes, but we'll explain that in a bit later on. We'll now look at the flat symbol. As a reminder, it looks like this. The flat has the opposite effect to the sharp as it lowers the note by 1. This again is easiest to represent on a keyboard. If we take the B note, we can then flatten it so it turns to the next lowest note. As this note is achieved by flattening B, it is called B flat. Let's take a harder one by looking at the F note. If we flatten it, it once again goes to the next lowest note. This note is the E note. However, as we came to this note by flattening the F, we don't call it E, we instead call it F flat. Therefore, the rules for both sharps and flats is that they keep their original note name and have the symbol added to them. The final symbol is a natural symbol. It looks like this, and it removes any accidentals that are in place. Again, let's visualize this on a keyboard. Naturals only apply to notes which are already sharpened or flattened, as they remove these accidentals. So let's look at C sharp first. If we turn a C sharp into a C natural, it reverts back to its normal note, in this case C. If we look at B flat next, when its B flat is turned into a B natural, it then reverts back to its normal note, in this case B. Now let's look at E sharp. Although this is the same note as F, we need to remember to label it as E sharp. This is because when E sharp is turned into E natural, it will revert back to the E note. Whereas if you were to put a natural sign in front of an F, it would remain as an F. This is why it's important to name the notes correctly. Some of you may be asking why we need natural symbols. The reason is that if we apply an accidental to one note within a bar, if that note should reappear in the same bar, it will automatically have the accidental applied to it, even if the accidental isn't visible. Let's look at this on some sheet music. In the first bar, both notes are clearly B flat. However, in the second bar, the first note is a B flat. The next note, however, has no flat symbol, but it is still a B flat. This is because a B has appeared earlier in the bar and was flattened. This means that all future Bs are flattened as well. This flattening of all future Bs can be overruled, however, if a natural symbol occurs. If the second note had a natural symbol, it would result in the note being a B, not a B flat. Likewise, if the second note had a sharp symbol instead, it would make it a B sharp, not a B flat. Finally, we're going to take a very brief look at enharmonics. They aren't strictly needed until grade 4, however they can be useful if they're introduced now, so you can have a better understanding of sharps and flats. Due to this, we're simply going to look at when two notes are enharmonic. Now, enharmonics refers to when the same note has different names, or there are two notes at the same pitch. So let's look at this on a keyboard. Here we have C sharp and D flat. Both of these are the same note. The notes are therefore labelled as enharmonic. They are two notes at the same pitch. Now there is more to enharmonics than this, however the knowledge isn't really needed at the moment. Wikipedia has a useful article on enharmonics, which is linked at the top of the video now. So check that out if you want, but try to not get too bogged down with them at this time. So that's all you need to know to understand accidentals, and that's all that's really necessary to know about accidentals for grade 1 music theory. So as always, thanks for watching. There are free exercises or worksheets alongside written lessons on all grade 1 topics available at learningmusictheory.co.uk. Please like, comment and subscribe if you found the video useful. It's much appreciated and it really helps me out. I'll see you in the next lesson.